The Monster of Canterlot, Chapter 19. After breakfast, Twilight and I went to Rarity's to pick up my new outfit. It may have been early, but Rarity said she would be working on it all afternoon, so we assumed she would be done. Even if she wasn't, it would give me an opportunity to get some more advice while she worked. At the very least, it would allow more face time with the public. Definite progress was being made with the ponies around town and their perception of me. No pony was running in terror anymore, and I didn't hear one mention of monsters. Even Twilight wasn't looking for ponies to turn into a windsock if the wrong words were muttered. Maybe the rest of the nation would be the same. Either way, how my subjects perceived me was not at the forefront of my mind right now. In fact, there was only one pony's view of me that I cared about today. Roseluck. Before long, we were sitting in Rarity's boutique. She hadn't quite finished yet, so she brought us some fresh tea while we waited. I was surprised to see Spike running around behind the curtain, helping Rarity with her work. Though, every so often I would catch him stealing a sideways glance at her. The look on his face told me everything I needed to know.
"And I believe that is it," Rarity called out as she stepped away from what she was working on. "I do hope it is to your liking, darling."
"Don't worry, Rarity, I'm sure it's perfect," I reassured her. She smiled and nodded. Her horn lit up, and the curtain was pulled back to reveal her hard work's reward. There, on one of the only human-shaped poniquins in the world, was a somewhat simple shirt that I believe was called a bolo shirt, and a pair of tan pants. The shirt matched Luna's coat and had Celestia's cutie mark on the left breast. The pants had no insignia, but they had a simple elegance that said class, without the flash.
"Well?"
"Rarity, it looks perfect. Exactly what I wanted." I rushed over to try them on. I knew I made the right choice.
Now, flattery will get you nowhere," Rarity giggled. "Now go put it on."
The second the curtain was closed, I began to tear my own clothes off. Of course, I was careful with them. They were made by my mother, after all. Both pieces slid on easily and fit perfectly. I was using the word a lot today, but it was true. I slid the curtain back open and stepped out.
"Well, some pony certainly cleans up nicely. You're looking good there, cousin."
"Thanks, Twi, though I think it's all just thanks to Rarity's hard work. These clothes fit better than anything I can remember wearing." I rotated my shoulders to show just how well it all fit before I whispered, "Just don't tell Mom."
"Really? Oh, I am so glad to hear that. You have no idea how worried I was that you wouldn't like it."
"I wasn't. I knew you could do it, Rarity. You never fail," Spike told her. He was laying it on a little thick.
Yes, well, I said I'd like a challenge, and I think I beat this one," Rarity said as she eyed her work.
"I'll say. So, how much?" I asked.
"I already told you. Just let every pony know where you got your new ensemble, and you can consider us even."
"Rarity, I'll wear an outfit made entirely of your logo after this, if you want."
Rarity giggled. "While I appreciate the gesture, I believe that would be a tad on the tacky side."
"Yeah, but still, I can't thank you enough."
"Chris, the mere fact that you think so highly of my work is not enough." Rarity waved a dismissive hoof. "Now, I believe you have a date to prepare for."
"She's right," Twilight agreed as she stood from the couch. "Let's get you back to the library to get ready." "Gotcha. Let's go." I looked back as I stepped through the door. "Thanks again, Rarity." It was almost time to leave the library to pick up Rose at her shop, which she lived above. I had eaten the trout Fluttershy gave me the day before already, and had a pretty good feeling that any restaurant in a town this small would not have an omnivorous option, and I didn't want my stomach growling all night. My hair was combed, my teeth were brushed, my bits were gathered, and my armpits weren't stinky. I was as ready as I could be.
"Are you sure you've got everything you need?"
"Yes, Twilight, I've even triple-checked."
"Maybe, but one more time wouldn't hurt."
"Twi," I placed my hands on her withers. "I know you're just trying to help, but you've already got me as prepped as possible." I hugged her. "Now, I will have to either stink or swim on my own."
"I know, but I can't help but want to see you happy. After all, it's my fault you're here."
Twilight's head dropped. "And I keep telling you, it was an accident, and I don't blame you. We were both very young, and a mistake was made. That's all there was to it."
"I know, but I still feel guilty. I mean, I took you from your world and
gave me an amazing new one. Twilight, my life is far too good for you to feel guilty about it. Now, stop all this feeling down or I'll be weepy for my date." Twilight giggled. "Alright." She started to push me towards the door, and I pretended to struggle. "Now, just be yourself and you'll have that mare eaten out of your hooves. Hands." Okay, stop pushing. I'm going." And with that, and promises of details, I was out the door and on my own. The walk seemed like eternity. I reached Rose's shop. It had been closed up already, but I knocked on the door anyway. To my surprise, it wasn't Rose who opened. Instead, a pink earth mare with a green maid met me. Oh, hello, miss. I was looking for Roseluck. Is she here? Rose, the prince is here! The bright pink mare yelled as she stepped back from the door, bumping into a display table. That's 20 bits you owe me, Daisy, I heard another mare call out from inside. What's going on? I muttered to myself. Would you two stop that and invite the poor stallion inside? Rose chastied. She was answered with a double, oh, right. A new earth mare came to the door. This one was also pink, but had two-toned blonde hair. Please, excuse us, your highness. We're just not used to royalty visiting us, the new mare informed me as she opened the door wide and bowed while I entered. My name is Lily Valley, but please, just call me Lily. You've already met my friend Daisy. She's the one who looks like she just lost a bet. Pleased to meet you, and please, no more bowing. I never felt comfortable with all that stuff. My name is Christopher Soule, but just call me Chris. Alright, Lily giggled. Chris. Daisy came into the room where Lily and I were talking. She had a bag in her mouth, which clinked when she placed it in front of Lily. I assumed it was the 20 bets I heard mentioned before. So, ladies, what's this about a bet? Oh, you see, when Rose told us about you asking her out, Daisy didn't believe her, so I bet her 20 bits that it was true. Now, thanks to you, I get to go and buy myself that new set of saddle bats I've been saving up for. Well then, Miss Lily, I'm glad I could help. And Miss Daisy, I pulled 10 bits from my pouch and handed them over. Please, allow me to at least soften the blow. Happily, Daisy scooped the bits from my hand. Thank you very much, Chris. Hey now, if you give away all your bits, then how are you going to take me to dinner? A joking voice asked from the top of the stairs. We all turned and saw a stunning-looking Roseluck. She slowly stepped down the stairs, making sure to sway her hiss as she did. The action made her tail wave, just begging to be ogled. Her mane had been braided, with each rope in the braid being a different color. She also wore a cape embroidered with roses that stopped just below her dock and didn't quite reach her legs. Even though ponies don't normally wear clothing, there was something about an outfit that only allowed one to see certain areas. So, what do you think? Rose asked as she gave a little twirl. I couldn't answer. My jaw was too busy trying to catch flies. Lily reached up and closed my mouth for me, snapping me out of my trance. I think he likes it. I nodded rapidly in agreement. Rose giggled. I'm glad. Now, where do you plan on going tonight? Dinner had been at the fanciest restaurant in Ponyville, the Gilded Truffle. Rose had enjoyed her hay souffle, and I had had a quite acceptable garden salad. Turns out I was right to have eaten that fish earlier. The whole time, we enjoyed light conversation about our likes and dislikes, our hobbies and favorite music, even our favorite holidays. Mine's Nightmare Night, while hers is Heartswarming. I was actually worried she would say the Summer Sun Celebration. As an added bonus, the management had refused to accept bits from me, saying it was their honor to have served royalty. I may hate special treatment most times, but right now, I was willing to make an exception. Instead, I left the bits I brought as a tip for the waitress. After dinner, we took a stroll along the river just outside of town. It was a full moon and a peaceful night, so it seemed like a good idea. Besides, this would allow us to have a nice chat without ponies watching and listening in. So, what made you want to move from Manhattan to Ponyville? I asked. Well, I love flowers and making ponies happy by helping them get just the right ones for whatever reason they need them. Like you did for me yesterday? Exactly. And while Manhattan certainly has a wired clientele, I was just getting so sick and tired of ponies only caring about themselves. So, when I heard about how friendly Ponyville was, I decided I had to come and see for myself. Besides, she said with a grin, being so close to the Whitetail Wood means there are plenty of free wildflowers to choose from. I chuckled and went down to pick a flower from a bush we were passing by at the moment. By chance, it was a morning glory. I twirled it by the stem a few times. Instantly, my thoughts were brought back to the biggest mare in my life. Did you know Mother loves these flowers? I sat down on the bank of the river. Where I'm from, flowers are given mainly as a sign of affection. So, when I found some of these and gave them to her, and she ate them, I thought she didn't love me or something. I cried my little eyes out. Rose had sat next to me on the bank. I looked at her and tucked the bloom right behind her ear. I leaned back and took in the sight. The rich purple color of the flower complemented her red hair nicely. Then I noticed her looking up at me with those big emerald eyes of her. I froze. I was captured by the beauty before me, even more so when her cheeks started to flush. Suddenly, I realized she had been talking for some time.
Sorry, what was that? I asked where it was that you came from. I mean, I know you're not the princess's son and all, but how... well, let me tell you. I spent several minutes telling her everything. Well, almost everything. I admitted the fact that it was Twilight's magic, and instead said it was never determined how it happened. I left out the whole crying myself to sleep for a year part as well. She seemed to be fascinated. She laughed when I told her about blue blood being tossed about by Twilight. She cooed when I told her how any time I cried, Celestia would hold me close until I stopped. Rose was awed when I told her about flying all over Equestria on Celestia's back. I even caught a tear in her eye when I got to the part about Luna zapping me and calling me a monster. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I left the castle and came here for my first trek outside the walls. I figured that since almost all my friends live here, it would be less intimidating than going to, say, Prance or Napan. Wow, so you were like, literally ripped from your home and dumped here? That must have been horrible. Yeah, I sighed deeply, but it hasn't been all bad. I've been well taken care of, I've got good friends, and I couldn't have asked for a better mother than Celestia. Yeah, I could see that. We both laughed. I froze mid-chuckle when she placed a hoof on my chest. Now, come on. It's getting late, and I have to open the store in the morning. Rose stood up and waited for me to do the same. Okay. I stood up, brushed myself off, and walked Rose home. We stood outside her front door and ignored the prying eyes of her friends peering out the windows. Thank you, Chris, for showing me a wonderful time. I had a lot of fun tonight. Me too, Rose. I hope we can do this again sometime. Rose stood on her hind legs and propped herself up on my chest. She gave me a slightly more than friendly kiss on my cheek. Count on it. She lowered herself back to all fours and trotted inside. I could hear the hushed whispers of Daisy and Lily as she did. Even after the door closed, I just stood there, transfixed, for another 30 seconds. At the end of those 30 seconds, I jumped into the air with one fist raised and spun all the way around. Luckily, my totally justified reaction was kept silent. I sprinted all the way back to the library. Twilight was waiting for me, but she still jumped when I slammed the door open. So, how'd it go? Twilight asked me. I scooped her up, tossed her in the air, and cut her again before spinning around. It couldn't have gone better, I smiled as I set Twilight back down on the floor. Great! Now, how about those details? And that was my first venture into the dating world.